You picked a piece of meat from the pot, and the way to punish it is to light a match to place on that child's hand as punishment. That is child abuse.
A very good evening to you. Trust your day is going smoothly. As you head home from work or probably are stuck in traffic, welcome to another edition of Data Chat on Ray Power 100.5 FM. Data Chat is the program to analyze, interrogate, and interpret findings of survey conducted by NOI Polls Limited. November 20 is a Universal Children's Day with the theme Inclusion for Every Child. And today we'll talk about the rights of children amidst the growing prevalence of child abuse. And 1,800 Nigerians think child abuse is prevalent in the country according to the survey by NOI Polls in the month of June 2022. That is what we'll be talking about on Data Chat right after this break. I am Omomomi Timidayo. Welcome back. You are listening to Data Chat, and this week we are looking at child abuse and the rights of children against the backdrop of the United Nations World Children's Day on November 20th. At least 51 in 100 Nigerians, according to the poll we are looking at, have personally seen children undergoing abusive treatment in their locality. For more on the findings, we are joined by Raphael Umbegu, Head of Social Research at NOI Polls. Raphael, over to you.
Okay, thank you very much. So it is against this backdrop of increasing incidents of child abuse in Nigeria that NOI Polls conducted a survey to gauge the pulse of Nigerians regarding the issues. So first we had asked Nigerians, in your opinion, how prevalent do you think the issue of child abuse is in the country? And we found out that majority of the citizens, 88%, say the child abuse is either prevalent or very prevalent. So we had 9% of the respondents who said not prevalent at all. Only 3% of them said the issue is not prevalent. We went further to do analysis just to know where the issues are coming from by geopolitical zones and by gender. We found out that most of the respondents who said the case of child abuse, neither prevalent nor very prevalent, are actually coming from all the regions, but highest is actually from South, where we had 94% of respondents who said the issue of child abuse is prevalent. And then this is followed by Southeast with 93% and Northwest 91%, North Central 86%, Northwest 85% and Northeast 81%. We try to analyze the data we have by different years when this same question had been, and we found out that analysis from 2017 and 2022 shows that the issue of child abuse has been in the upward direction. So in 2017 we had 41% of respondents who said that the issue of child abuse is very prevalent against what we are currently having today in 2022. We asked Nigerians, have you seen any child undergoing abusive treatment in your locality? And we found more than 5 in 10 Nigerians, 51% said yes, they actually have seen someone or a child in the past undergoing abusive treatment in their localities. And this cut across different regions by gender and of course by age. This shows how prevalent the issue of child abuse is in the country. So we asked again to know the type of child abuse the citizens actually see mostly against children. So we found that physical abuse came highest at 5%. This is followed by sexual abuse 28%, abandonment 21%, financial abuse 9%, and psychological abuse had just 7%. So this shows that more Nigerians, more children actually face physical abuse and sexual abuse in all the regions in the country. Then analysis of the results by geopolitical zones of those who actually indicated physical abuse shows that more of the issues is actually coming from southwest and the southeast as well as south-south. That is 55%, 51%, and 46% respectively. We went further to ask to know the reasons why some of these incidents are actually occurring against children. So we found out that poverty came highest as the main reason why children experience child abuse, which is 35%. This is followed by parental neglect, 30%, and 8% went for of respondents say the bad economy, 7% had unemployment, marital strife had 4%, alcoholism had 2%, illiteracy and ignorance had 2%, and other issues mentioned were about 7%. Then looking at the analysis by geopolitical zones and by age, you see that poverty and parental neglect, which has a combination of 67%, actually came highest, and this cut across all the regions and by gender and of course by age. So we asked to know if Nigerians are aware of the reporting channels of child abuse. So we found out that less than 5 in 10 Nigerians, 44%, said they're aware of where the issue can be reported, and majority, 56%, said they are not even aware of where to report child abuse cases in the country, and this cut across all the regions in the country. Finally, we asked our respondents just to gauge if their perception of what can be done to reduce the incidence of child abuse in Nigeria. And we found out that more respondents said awareness on the effect of child abuse has to be strengthened across regions and across localities in the country. This came to about 28%. This is followed by a suggestion that government should improve the economy, which also addressed the issue of poverty that was mentioned as one of the major causes, and this had about 22%. And job creation had 22%. The need to enact and enforce strict legislations also had 20%. The need to encourage free education had 14%. Child welfare for the less privileged had 12%. Encouragement for good parenting had 4%. Birth control 2%. Prayers 2%. Creating channels for reporting at grassroots had just 1%. Thank you very much.
And that was Raphael Umbegu, Head of Social Research at NOI Polls, with the findings that was conducted in the month of June. You can get hold of the full survey findings on our website. Just head on to noi-polls.com. You can also check our social media platforms on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. It's at NOI Polls. Joining me in the studio today is Mr. Josiah Emerole, Director of Intelligent Public Enlightenment at the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, also known as NAPTIP. Welcome, Mr. Josiah.
Well, thank you very much for having me here.
Let me see you.
Thank you.
All right. So, the Universal Children's Day is a time to promote togetherness around the world, awareness of problems children face in every corner of the globe, and improve the welfare of all children. It is also to bring awareness to children around the globe that have experienced violence in forms of abuse, exploitation, and discrimination. The survey finds 88% of Nigerians that think child abuse is prevalent, and 51% have personally or normally seen children undergoing abusive treatment in their locality. So, Mr. Josiah, I would like to ask, looking at this, can we say that the case of child abuse is becoming a norm in our society, or do you think people don't just bother anymore, sir?
Well, thank you very much. First of all, it's important that people get to understand what child abuse is. When they understand it, then they will be able to know whether it's happening within their environment or not. When we talk about child abuse, we are talking about an act or a set of acts meted on children that seem to dehumanize these children, that seem to reduce them as subhumans, acts that makes them not to develop properly as children and acts that will always make them to want to move to a particular place and sulk. And what are we talking about? We are talking about the ill treatments that they get from adults around them. The ill treatment they could also get from their peers who are more powerful and who see them as weak. Now, looking at the polls that you have conducted, I would like to go with the people, the 88% that says that child abuse is prevalent within Nigeria because there is no part of this country that you will not see child abuse. And child abuse, let's not just think that child abuse is only happens outside of homes. Even in homes, the child abuse is there. There are some type of discipline you will give to your child that may graduate to child abuse. Because the discipline you are giving to your child is to correct the child. But when you now begin to take certain actions in the name of correction, you begin to injure this child. You now say that this child, you will not eat today because you have done this. You will go hungry. And some will actually carry it out the whole day, nothing. And some may even say, okay, you picked a piece of meat from the pot and the way to punish it is to light a match to place on that child's hand as punishment. That is child abuse. And it's also coming from the parents. You may think that it is part of discipline. No, discipline that reaches to the point where it hurts this child is no longer discipline, it's now child abuse. And we must do everything possible to curb that.
So, to understand what Nigerians think of child abuse, NOI Polls Communications Officer Patricia Atin-Bassi has been on the street to speak with a cross-section of Nigerians. Let's hear our report.
Africa ranks highest across regions in the percentage of children in child labor. It is estimated that without mitigating strategies, the number of children in child labor may increase by 8.9 million in 2022, according to the United Nations. On today's NY Post Vox Pop, let's find out what Nigerians have to say regarding child abuse in Nigeria.
Yes, I do see. And what I see more of a child abuse, the highest of child abuse, I may say, is the Almajiri system.
Yes, of course, every day. I see children undergoing child abuse in most cases. It happens regularly, sure.
Yeah, definitely. It happens every day of our living. Because the main reason and for that also is at times is lack of home training.
Where I live, not exactly, but we'll be hearing recently over the news and on the social media, the current happenings, apart from kidnappings, we're hearing so much recently about children being abused.
What do you consider child abuse?
Child abuse, we might be missing child abuse and child neglect, because child neglect results into child abuse. Because if you have children you cannot take care of, you have neglected them, and by neglecting them, ordinarily results into child abuse.
You're not giving them that freedom to be that child that they are, to express themselves. So I consider that as child abuse, whereby you placing them where they are not supposed to be, or making them hawk on the streets where they are not supposed to hawk. So to me, you are taking away the childhood from them.
I consider it as underprivileged. I consider it as as lack of home training.
Child abuse is when an adult, somebody of age, tries to probably molest or have carnal knowledge, either by physical penetration or even playing around areas with a child, somebody who's underage, that is not permitted.
What is the main reason for incidents of child abuse in Nigeria?
Well, the poor economy, one. People having children they cannot cater for. They have not been able to cater for themselves, talk less of the children.
Parental care. There is no proper parental care for that child. Maybe lack can cause it too. Lack, domestic lack, financial lack can cause a child to be abused in so many ways.
The main reason is, just like I said, the society today, our government, they need to do more than what they have been doing. There is to rise to the occasion to place a tax on that, to which if anyone is caught, there should be a disciplinary committee on that. You understand? That we bring it down. But the level of them they are responding is not encouraging at all.
Human behavior for me knows no bound, because a lot of people have different reasons to do or commit a lot of acts. Sometimes some of these people, like most times when they are caught, they say it's the devil's work. Most times people attribute a lot of things to the devil. But I feel a matured person should actually know what he's doing, what is right and what is wrong.
Are you aware of any reporting channel where cases of child abuse can be reported?
I am not so much aware of such channels, but I know for sure that when such incidents happen, people always first run to the police station, of course. And I don't really know the full role of NAPTIP and whatever, but I feel that they too are part of they should be involved also.
Apart from this human rights, not human rights, NAPTIP, for now, that's the only channel I could say. I don't have idea of anyone.
What should be done to reduce incidents of child abuse in Nigeria?
As I said earlier, the parents of the children should have some meaningful livelihood. It will result into helping the children. Because if I can take care of myself well, at least my children should be able to be taken care of as well.
As a family, you should know what your pocket is and how to bring in children, not to go give birth to hundreds of children and keep them on the streets and people are using them for sex, whatever, and the rest. So number one, control of childbirth, okay? And number two, again, how will I put it? Good education.
Create a better working environment for the children. We should make sure our economy. Also, what causes that is poverty. Also, you understand the lack of the poverty rate is too very high. So to me, also the government can do more in a sense that if they do their best, definitely, I feel and I believe that all those child abuse things will go down.
Let this be a major topic in our school curriculum anyway, so that teachers will tell children, hey, this is where it's for you, this is your red line, people should not touch here, or adults should not touch here, this is right, a touch in this part of your body or on this part of your body is right, let there be limitation. Immediately somebody touches you like this, report.
The consequences of child abuse is staggering, as it further leads to bodily, mental harm, and even death. We believe the children are our future. We should teach them well, help them lead the way, and show them the beauty they possess inside. In the words of Maya Angelou, when you know better, you do better. Let's stop child abuse in Nigeria.
And that was Patricia conducting a street poll to bring us the thoughts of Nigerians on child abuse. So, Mr. Josiah, the theme for the year's Universal Children's Day is inclusion for every child. When child rights advocates talk about inclusion, what exactly does that mean, sir?
Well, from our own perspective, in NAPTIP, inclusion means giving the child a say in whatever programming you are doing for children. The days are gone when you just sit down and you think that you know what is best for the child. So if you are programming anything for the children, you should also listen to them, understand where they are coming from. Where you think that they are not getting it right, you have that conversation with them. And when you have that conversation with them, whatever it is you want to do with them, they will be able to now understand it from their own point of view and from your own perspective. But where you do something and you think that is for the best interest of the child, without also including the opinion of this child, there will be resentment. So, in whatever activities we want to do or put together for the children, we should let them also have a say. And that's why we keep talking about giving a voice to children, giving a voice to those people you think cannot speak out. You cannot say that somebody can't speak out until you have given the person opportunity to say something. So I think it's a welcome development talking about child inclusion, because when you include them in whatever you are doing, it makes society better. It makes the children feel part of that society and not an imposition on them at all times. Yes.
Thank you very much, sir. So, how would you assess Nigeria and its progress on child rights with regards to inclusion? Look at our level of progress.
Well, what I can tell you is that there are lots of legal frameworks in Nigeria that protects the rights of children and also tries to give these children a say in what happens. For instance, the Child Rights Act and the child rights laws in the states. There are so many things there that indicates how to handle children's issues and how to allow these children to also speak out. And through the Child Rights Act, a number of states also have what they call the Children's Parliament. So, to include these children, it's important that these things or the voices of these children's parliament are listened to by those in positions of authority. Because these children, you think they don't know anything, but I can tell you that with the advent of the internet, social media, and all that, you'll be surprised that they now know more than the adults. And they know where they want to be in the next few years. But you are sitting there thinking for them and having this kind of archaic kind of thoughts. But the children are moving forward. Yes. Now, you also have the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act 2015, as well as the laws in the states, which also tells you how to handle children, how to involve the children in whatever they are doing in order to protect their rights. Even the Trafficking in Persons Prohibition Enforcement Administration Act, which NAPTIP enforces, also has a lot of things there to say you shall not do this to a child. And what that means is that it's also empowering the child that where such a thing happens, this is the channel where you should go to and report it so that they will know. But the only problem that we have is that some of these laws, especially those in the states, there are confusions on who is implementing them. Like the Child Rights Law, the Violence Against Persons laws, there are confusion in some states. Who is implementing? Even when they say it is implemented by this, the implementer, does he have, or does that implementer have the power to investigate such cases, arrest the perpetrators, and also prosecute them. Many of them, they don't have it. You see somebody, they have come up with the laws, they have come up with sentencing, but you don't have powers to investigate. So the investigation still falls back to the police. And you know the police, they also have a lot of work they are doing. But people still run to them, which is because they are everywhere. And that is the first point of call in many of the states. But here in the FCT, for instance, I'm sure many Nigerians will bear me witness, where we, NAPTIP, implements the Violence Against Persons Act, that every day the reports are coming and we are going to those places. And the schools that we have been able to sensitize on these issues, they are giving those children voices by allowing them, whenever they report cases, and bringing them to NAPTIP so that NAPTIP can take action, whether it is trafficking issue or violence against persons issues. So we have those two laws, and those two laws have been helping us to ensure that the protection which these children need, is given to them.
Thank you very much, sir. So, 35% of the respondents in the survey cited poverty as the main reason for the incidence of child abuse, and 32% cited parental neglect. Now, in the work you do at NAPTIP, why is the incidence of child abuse rising, and what do you say is the reason for this?
Well, when you talk about poverty, in most cases, it's the function of the economy, because poverty is an economic issue. If the economy is good, what that means is that the purchasing power of people will come up. What that means is that a lot of people will be engaged, either employed or using the skills they have learned to be able to do some work to earn a living. But if the economy is not good, it becomes a problem. People begin to lose jobs. People begin to, or some people will say their home pay package or whatever they call it can no longer take them home. But you see, yes, poverty is there, but like I said, it's a function of the economy. But the point too is that there are some parents who are also lazy, especially in the rural areas. You discover that a man wakes up, he's not doing anything. He ties wrapper, goes to a drinking joint, begin to wait for who will give him the next bottle or the next cup. You see them going to some place to play draft, play Ludo, and allow the woman in the house to run around looking for what to bring and put on the table. It's the woman that goes to the farm. It's the woman that goes to the market and manages to put something on the table. And this same man comes back and begins to shout, "Where is my food?" You understand? Yes. And it is also not a good lesson to the children, especially to the boy. Thinks that is the way of life. And he continues in that manner. So, now such situations have made it possible for the child now to begin to be, to be now seen as someone who should start early to begin to provide for the family, instead of the other way. Because any child you bring up or you give birth to, you are expected to take care of this child to the level where the child now becomes free to now work and be able to provide for the family. And in this situation, because the child is now becoming a breadwinner, all of a sudden, a lot of abuses come to this child. Rape comes. Molestations come. all manner of abuse that you can name. Because that is the situation where a child is carrying something like hawking. That's when one adult will come and ask him, all these things you are carrying, how much is it? You say it's 5,000. The adult will say, okay, come, I want to buy all. Takes them to somewhere where they say, okay, don't worry, I'll give you 7,000. The child will rejoice. And before you know it, he begins to do other things. That is abuse. So, for me, and for us actually at NAPTIP, people should no longer be giving excuses for not taking care of their children. They should not continue to give excuses. I like the person who said people should begin to give birth to the number of children they take care of. But you see, it's also in this type of families that the parents are doing nothing, that you see 10 children. Whereas the rich men and women, you go to their homes, you see just one child, two children, and what have you. And they give them the best. But this man is giving back to 10. He doesn't have anything to do, to use in catering for these children. So, it's a function of also a dysfunctional society. Dysfunctional society. And we must begin to find a way of dealing with all of this. And for the states, for instance, the states, the local governments, must begin to carry out their own responsibilities. The federal government is here doing its own to make sure that everybody is happy. But the states, the local government, everybody has come from a local government, come from a state, and those people should be their primary responsibilities. How do you improve on the economy of the state to reduce the level of vulnerability in those states? So if they begin to fix some of these things, yes, the economy may not be good, but let them begin to do something and let people begin to make a living.
So, in your own opinion, what is the most prevalent form of child abuse you see in your work?
Well, the most prevalent that we see is physical abuse. Because every day you see children who some adults have physically injured because of one little mistake or the other. I talked about you light a match to injure this child. You use the heels of your shoe, begin to hit the child because you think the child has done something. And this is not just other people. I'm talking about even parents. And they think it's punishment. We've seen children who have done something, maybe burnt a cloth, and a mother comes and say, oh, this is my very expensive dress. You did this one. He puts back the iron on the light and shows the child this is how to press. Pressing the child's body with the iron. We've seen situations where a child made one mistake in the house. The next thing, the person the adult is living with puts on a stove and makes the child to sit on it. I mean, what can you say about that? Now, we talk about defilement. Many children are being raped all over, both boys and girls, by people within their vicinity. Or is it abandonment? There are many people, many children who are out of school, just not because of their own making, but just because the people who ought to take care of them, including their parents, have abandoned them to themselves, and they are roaming about the streets. They are roaming about the streets. Some of them trying to fend for themselves, and so many things, many of them have been killed on that. And what about the street children? these street children that people call various names. But the point is that these children should not be doing some of those things that they do. But as adults, as government officials, as people in authority, they have responsibilities to continue to talk to people, continue to create awareness on these things, and letting people know that destroying these children, abusing these children, is abusing the future of the country, because they are the leaders of tomorrow.
Thank you very much. We are going to be opening the phone lines now. The number to call to join this conversation is 0818 4270 287. I'll take that again. Is 0818 4270 287. And you can also reach us on 0818 4270 265. I'll take that one more time. 0818 4270 265. So you can just join the conversation by calling us, and let's just hear what you have to say about child abuse in Nigeria. Yes. Hello? Hello, please reduce the volume of your radio set, please.
Yes, I'm okay.
All right, thank you very much. Kindly state your name and where you are calling from.
Yes, my name is Ahmed something.
Okay, Ahmed.
I'm calling from this. Sorry, the gentleman was talking about local government putting in their house and the rest. Hello?
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead. You said local
Yes.
government, yes.
You see, the issue there is that local government now, let me say, one of their legs is break, one is standing. Because of what? The state has already hold them into ransom. Anything local government is going to do there is like they are beggars. They don't have any more power to do anything, because mistakenly any local government man gets up to do something, you see the state government will break them down. So you see local government now is their beggars. What we want to do, they have to give them their autonomy. Anything local government will do, now the masses in the local government have not paid, because the state government has hold them to ransom. Sometimes if they talk about local government, they feel like the chairman and the rest, they don't want to do anything. Those that want to work, they don't have resources to do anything. So that is where local government has problem, my brother. Honestly speaking. If they talk about local government, sometimes it's like we should fear. Because local government doesn't have anything to say. So that is why sometimes we need to push about local government autonomy, for local government to wake people in their society. Right. Because they are the
All right. Okay, so all right, Ahmed, thank you very, very much. All right, so the numbers to call in again is 0818 4270 287. Again, is 0818 4270 287. You can also reach us on 0818 4270 265. Hello? Hello, good evening to you. Good evening. All right, continue, yes.
I'm calling from Abuja.
All right, okay, thank you, Jacob from Abuja. Please just go ahead, please. I can hear you.
Concerning this children abuse.
Yes, we are talking about child abuse. Child abuse.
Child abuse.
Yes.
You can see my contribution on that is that, there are some people. What my advice to them is that there are some people, they marry accidentally. They didn't prepare before they marry. So that also can cause the lack of training their children, because they are not prepared. Before you will know, they will pregnant again, unaware unto them. And they will force them to marry the lady by force, and then they are not capable to have children. And then before you know, they're having children and wives. And then they will manage on that.
then to take care of the wife and the child, it should be not so difficult. So my advice is that boys are now that they are not married, they are yet to marry, they should be very careful of the way they are using their life.
All right. All right. Thank you very much, Jacob. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right. So you still have the privilege to still call during the conversation on child abuse in Nigeria. Mr. Josiah, I would like to ask you. 28%. 28% mentioned in terms of awareness. So 28% said there should be increase in terms of awareness when it comes to child abuse, and 1% said channel for reporting should be created at the grassroots level. So now I would like to ask you, how do you think Nigeria can work best to reduce the incidence of child abuse in Nigeria?
Well, you have mentioned the issue of awareness creation, which is very key in this. Our people need to understand that, first of all, that child abuse has been criminalized, and that if you get involved in abusing children and the information gets to law enforcement agencies, that you are likely to go to jail. And those type of awareness creation must increase. And it is not one that has to be left to government. You have civil society organizations all over the whole place. They need to come into this because the civil society organizations are all over. Where government officials cannot reach, civil society can always reach because they are even in local governments. The faith-based organizations, now I'm talking about the churches, the mosques, the other small organizations that has to do with faith, they need to also come into it. Like the churches and the mosques, the leadership in those places must see it as a responsibility that in their sermons, during their prayers, that they keep harping on these issues, on child upbringing, and how to ensure that these children live a good life and not to be abused. And they should continue to let people know, just like some people have said here, about this issue of having the number of children you can cater for. Because if you fill the whole place with children and you can't deal with them, what do you get? Miscreants all over the whole place. Children that cannot go to school. So every strata of society must get involved in this, because this is one serious area that everybody must get involved in. The teachers in schools should get involved. Schools that don't have counselors should begin to have counselors who will be able to listen to children, who should be able to see children in school, and they also discern that something is going wrong with this child. Draw this child close and begin to ask. Parent-Teachers Association in school should be able to also get involved by talking to themselves. Like I said, it's not only outsiders that abuse these children. People in the homes abuse their own children. What about the schools? The bullying in schools. The bullying in boarding schools. There are people, authority responsible for those schools. We have had cases where children have died in schools. There are some cases in courts too, by various organizations taking schools to courts because of the abusive nature of what has happened to children there, and those children died. So everybody must get involved. And when we all get involved, when this information enters one ear, it should reside in us and not entering from one ear and then departing from the other, as if nothing has happened. A lot is taking place concerning awareness creation, but people gloss over some of these things as if they are not happening. They are happening, and a lot of money is being spent on some of these things. Even as we are talking now, we are creating awareness. There are people who are listening today, and even as they are speaking, as we are speaking, some of them will be saying they are just there blowing grammar because they are perpetrators of this evil on children. And we must tell them that no. And where you hear or see some of these things, the important thing is report these cases. Report these cases. And a good place to also report is to NAPTIP on 627. It's a short code. 627. 627, you report it there and you will get help. If it is a place where, if it's not a case that has to do with our mandate, when we're able to also refer it to the agency that should be able to deal with it. The police is all over the whole place. The civil defense is all over the whole place. And other law enforcement agencies. So we should help these children and to help ourselves, because when they grow up, it is the country, it is ourselves that they are going to help.
All right, thank you very, very much, Mr. Josiah. I was about to talk about a reporting channel, but I'm glad you were able to just chip that in and you were able to give that code. I would like to say you should just repeat that code again so people can hear and know the reporting channel they can go to where they have issues.
Okay, to report cases to NAPTIP or to get information from NAPTIP, we have a short code, and that short code is 627. 627. You can get it from every network. But we also have a hotline, which is 070 30 000 203. I repeat it. 070 30,000 203.
Okay, so let me just take the number again. The number is 070 30,000 203. I take that one more time. It's 070 30,000 203. Thank you very much, Mr. Josiah, for taking our time to analyze the findings of the poll on child abuse. Once again, Mr. Josiah Emerule is Director, Intelligence and Public Enlightenment at National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, that's NAPTIP. Thank you very much once again for coming on the show. Thank you very much. You can also find the full report of the poll on our website. Just head on to noi-polls.com. You can also check our website, our social media platforms on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and on YouTube. Feel free to like, to share, to comment. You might also have comments to really post. Just make sure you drop your thoughts there. It's at NOI Poll. Universal Children's Day is not just a day to celebrate children for who they are, but to bring awareness to children around the globe that have experienced violence in forms of abuse, exploitation, and discrimination. Children are used as laborers in some countries, immersed in armed conflict, living on the street, suffering by difference, be it religion, minority issues, or disability. Currently, there are about 153 million children between the ages of 5 to 14 who are forced into child labor. And child abuse is a global problem, if you must agree with me. It includes all forms of physical and emotional ill treatment, sexual abuse, neglect, and exploitation that result in actual or potential harm to the child's health, development, or dignity. If you must agree with me, I would say that child abuse and neglect are very common in Nigeria, yet they are poorly reported. That's so much we can take on Data Chat today. It's a production of NOI Polls, and I can assure you another edition will be coming up next week. My name is Omomomi Timidayo, and on behalf of the NOI Polls team and management, I would like to say a big thank you to my crew, my team, Jod, Leonardo Cafo, and Chooks in the studio here. Thank you so much, and have a great weekend.